Hello everyone and welcome back to this week's Stardew Valley video. I started off by day 8 by harvesting 2 poppies. I saved one for the chef's bundle and shipped the other one off. I then watered all my crops. After that, I went to check the bat cave, the chickens, and the cows. I did notice it was going to thunderstorm tomorrow, so I started smelting some quartz for lightning rods. I then headed to town and then picked up a quest for Emily to say hi to everyone in town. So I started just doing that. I ran into Evelyn and George. Then I went back to Pierre's to meet Marnie. Gave Gus a birthday present. Said hi to him. Said hi to Pierre. And then said hi to Abigail. I then headed down to the beach to go say hi to Willie. I did end up changing the bobber style while I was here. I just changed it to random. I then headed to the blacksmith to say hi to Clint. Made my round at Joja Cola to say hi to Pam. Sam. And Shane. Then I made my way up to the mountains to say hi to Robin. And I was going to say hi to Sebastian, but I couldn't get in his room. So I went and said hi to Linus. And then waited outside of Sebastian's room till he came out. I finished the quest, so now everyone likes me just a little bit more. Then I headed to the mines. I was still trying to complete the Dougie's goal, so I was just resetting floor 15 and made my way down. After that, I headed back to the farm, sold off all the items I didn't need. Put more quartz in the furnace. Made a few lightning rods. and then I waited for the quartz to be done. And then I ended up calling it a night. I did end up making 1,691 gold that night. On the morning of day 9, it was raining. I said good morning to Nova. I did decide that I was going to go fishing today because I needed a red snapper. I made some more lightning rods. Harvested sunflowers in my summer spangles. I saved one sunflower for the community center. I learned how to make a salmon dinner from Gus. And harvested 2 hot peppers. I then organized my inventory, smelted some gold ore, then checked on the bat cave, the chickens, and the cows. I did get a cherry from the bat cave, which I do need for the community center. I sold off the milk and mayo from the animals. I then grabbed everything I needed to donate and then headed to the beach. I headed to fish in the ocean because I needed a red snapper. After I caught the red snapper, I headed to the community center. At the community center, I donated the red snapper, completing the ocean fish bundle. I donated 10 wheat, a red cabbage, a sunflower, a poppy seed, a fiddlehead fern, then donated a cherry and an orange. Then I headed up to the mountains to fish for the rest of the night. I did end up running out of energy, so I headed back to the farm. Sold off all the fish I didn't need. Organized my inventory. Organized my chests a little bit. Then called it a night. I leveled up 8 in fishing. And then ended up making 3,223 gold. On the morning of day 10, it was still raining. I got a letter in the mail from Mayor Lewis talking about the luau happening tomorrow. I collected the batteries from the previous day. Smelted some more copper ore. Made one more tapper. Decided I was going to put it on a maple tree instead. I did grab a gold bar for Maru's birthday. I made another tapper. And then I checked on the cows, the chickens, in the bat cave. I did need the large milk for the community center, so I saved that. And then I put the other tapper on a pine tree. I then headed down to Maru's to purchase 2 ducks. I named one Quack. And the other one Goose. If you guys have any suggestions for names, please put them in the comments. I then headed back to the farm after the beach to grab my fishing pole. I still needed a sturgeon, so I went to go fish one up in the mountains. After I finally caught one, I headed to the mines for the rest of the night. I do end up heading back to the farm, selling off all my fish, and then forgetting to give Maru her birthday gift. And I call it a night. I got level 7 for mining and ended up making 1,939 gold. On the morning of day 11, it was the luau. But before I could go there, I did have to water my crops. I do end up grabbing all the batteries and oak resin that were ready. Water all my crops. Smelt some more copper. Then check on the bat cave, the chickens, the ducks, and the cows. I ended up smelting more copper before I left. I did end up saving the gold star quality mayo for the luau. Then I headed to the beach. Once I made it to the luau, I said hi to everyone. I did end up putting the mayo into the soup and then talked to Mayor Lewis and the governor and got the soup tasting started. The governor is the first to test the soup. And I ended up getting the unforgettable soup achievement. After everyone got their fair soup, it was time to head home. I did end up making a few tappers before calling it a night. I ended up making 315 gold that night. On the morning of day 12, it was raining again. I harvested hops, tomatoes, and hot peppers, sold those off. I did save one tomato for the community center. I learned how to make blueberry tart from Pierre. I then checked on the coop in the barn. The ducks are still babies, so they're not producing eggs yet. I then headed to the Cindersap forest to track the traveling merchant. She didn't have anything I needed, so I headed up to the mines for more copper. It started to get late, so I headed back to the farm, organized my inventory, I smelted more copper, and then I called it a night. I did end up making 1,058 gold that night. On the morning of day 13, it was still raining. My melons were ready that morning. I did end up smelting more copper, harvesting some hops, in all of my melons. I ended up getting 5 gold quality melons, which I needed for the community center. And I ended up saving 2 melons. I sold the rest of them off. Planted my summer seeds to replace the melons. Smelted even more copper. Grabbed the oak resin. Checked on the coop in the barn and the bat cave. I did get a blackberry that I needed for the community center. I grabbed my mystery boxes and my geodes and anything that I had to donate to the museum. Then I ended up grabbing everything that I needed to donate to the community center. I then headed to the community center to donate these items. I started off by donating a large milk, a tomato, a hot pepper, and the melon. And then I donated the 5 gold quality melons. Then donated the oak resin and the blackberry. I then headed to the blacksmith's to open up my geodes and my mystery boxes. I did end up getting a few new things to donate, so I headed to the museum. After donating those few items, I did get 9 pumpkin seeds as a reward. That headed down to the beach to collect the foraging. I did stop at Gus's, had a talk with him and Pam. Bought a pizza from him for Alex's birthday. Then gave Alex his birthday gift and headed back to the farm. But I did get sidetracked and chopped down a few trees for a quest for Robin. I then made my way to the mountains to go talk to Robin. After I spoke with Robin, she gave me a prize token. I ended up making my way down to Lewis's house to redeem that prize token and got a star drop tea. I then headed back to the farm, sold off the items I didn't need, organized my inventory a little bit more, smelted more copper, then I decided I was going to clear some more trees from the farm. I did end up running out of energy, so that after I dropped everything off in my chest, I decided to call it a night. And of course, I decided to smelt more copper. I did end up leveling 5 in farming and picking the tiller, and I ended up making 11,944 gold. On the morning of day 14, the Queen of Sauce was on TV. I learned how to make pancakes. I did notice that my blueberries were ready, so I harvested those and the star fruit. I did just save one blueberry, grabbed the batteries from yesterday's rain, I then made my way to Robin's. And put in a barn upgrade. I then headed to the mines. I did end up spending all day in the mines and then ran out of energy. I did get this new bone hat. I ended up walking away with 132 copper ore, which was good because I was completely out of copper. I organized my inventory. And then I ended up calling it a night. I leveled up 6 in farming, 6 in combat, And then I ended up making 2,957 gold that night. Thank you for tuning into this week's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in next week's video. Bye!